Hey guys, so I've got something interesting, or fun I suppose. I've been doing a lot of boring things recently, or at least stuff that I've found boring because I've failed at stuff recently, so I sort of lose interest a bit. So I picked up something which is kind of interesting. This is a little module based around the ISD1820, which is, it's an audio recording module, oh no sorry, it's an audio recording chip, but in this case, it's going to be for voice. You could put other things into it, and essentially it will record messages. So you can have, I don't know if there's a limit on the number of messages, but there's certainly a limit on the number of, and the amount of time. So this one is limited to 10 seconds. It can be altered. There's a jumper here, and that if you attach a different resistance to that, you can alter the length of time that it can record for, but it's set to 10 seconds with a 100k resistor at the moment, which is soldered onto the board. Let's pop that back on. And we've got a few buttons. We've got a record button. We've got a play E, which is, it's like playing edge detect. So it's gonna play until it receives the next message or it gets to the next message. And then we have play L, which I think just plays as long as you're keeping it pressed. Over here we've got some pins for power and ground, but we've also got ones that say record, play E, play L, and that's so you can control this with a microcontroller if you want to, and it's all about holding them low, so holding them high or low depending on which pin it is. So at the top we've got a couple of switches. One of them is off, repeat, on, and so that's if you press play, will it repeat the message or will it not repeat it, just do it once. And then FT, which I've struggled to find out what the FT stands for, but I do think it's a pass-through for the microphone. So it means that the microphone will go straight through to the speaker, and so it won't record. That's what I think happens there, but we'll see what happens when we fiddle around with it. So for now I'm going to turn it off, and then we're going to get some power into this. So I'm not quite sure how we're going to do that yet. I might end up just soldering some bits on. I've got one of these, let's zoom out a little bit. I've got one of these USB soldering irons that I haven't played with yet, so it might be a good opportunity to try this. So I've got the soldering iron cable here. I've got a power bank over there we can use. I've got some solder, and I've got a little battery box, which is what we're going to solder to, I think. So we want ground over here. Well, this might go wrong. We'll see. So to start off with, I think I'm going to tin one of the pins on here because I'm not quite sure how well this iron's going to work. We can always just tack this thingy on, and we'll just tin that wire too. And we don't need a very solid connection, so we're going to just tack. Ouch! I did just hurt myself a little bit there. See if we can just tack this on. A solid connection. Solid enough. Right, let's pop this soldering iron over here. Now that we don't need it, we can unplug everything. So it comes with a nice little stand that you can just pop the soldering iron onto. Now, I'll leave that there so that you can see it when I burn myself on it. So it says it will accept 5 volts. I'm going to give it a little bit more than that. Oh, ground's come off, brilliant. Okay, we'll plug that back in a second. So I'm just going to have a battery box here, I think. Probably not a good idea to put those in when I'm about to solder again. Without jumping around too much. Perfect. I say that, it's not perfect. Right. Right, I had to just go and get some screwdrivers because I realised we're going to have to undo the little screws here in order to get that speaker in there. So let's pull out an appropriately sized bit. And we'll get the speaker in. Now I'm not really expecting an awful lot, honestly, from this board, but I mean it can't be terrible, can it? Okay, there are no indications as to which one's which, so I guess it doesn't really matter. I'll just put that together. Well, actually, there's no guarantee that I've soldered those wires onto the right sections anyway. So I kind of imagine this would be a little bit like, you know, the audio things you get in like birthday cards. I sort of imagine this is like a larger version of that. Oh, look at that, the ground wire again. That is it. Okay, I've just resoldered that on. So hopefully it's going to stick. Whoops. You might have noticed this is like the most unorganized video ever, but it's just because I want to have a little bit of fun before I go back to playing with Linux-based operating systems. So we've got it all plugged in now. So if I just switch it on, hopefully we'll see a light or something. No. What if I press record? Nothing. Okay. What have I done wrong? Right, let's get the multimeter out. Maybe I need to connect both VCCs to power. I'm not sure. That would seem odd to me, but so I'm just going to do a continuity test on those pins just to see if VCC is actually passed through both of them. Just turn the power off. Yeah, VCC is there and ground is also there. So actually it should work. Interesting. Let's try messing around with those switches. Actually, what we'll do first is we're going to check the voltage on those batteries just to see if they are dead or not. Let's get my probes the right way around. Well, I am getting no voltage. Let's find out what's gone on there. Well, it would help if you hadn't had a battery around the wrong way. I hope that hasn't damaged anything. I'm like the king of mistakes at the moment. Oh, we have some life. I don't know what's, there we go. So, testing 1, 2. Maybe this has worked. Let's find out. Testing 1, 2. I'm going to get you a bit closer to the action. Testing 1, 2. There we go. So when you press play E, it'll just play a message. Testing 1, 2. Sorry, I forgot that you can't actually hear me with the microphones over there. So when you press play E, it will play the one message and then it will stop. Testing 1, 2. And then when you press play L, it will just play for the length of time that you keep the button pressed. Testing. Testing. So that's quite interesting. We've also got the FT on or... Oh! Did anyone hear that? Holy moly. Let's just turn that FT off. I don't know if anyone noticed, but I hit the camera there. That was quite frightening. So, what is that, an interference with the microphone? Let's see, I'm going to get the microphone a bit closer. I mean, it did deafen me. I'll sort it out in post that you don't hear that. No, I don't know what that was. It was a weird interference there on the switch. Whew, I didn't know what I'd done there. And so we've got repeat on off as well. So if I just, so it's just going to play the message over and over again. Testing 1, 2. Testing 1, 2. So I think that's enough of this. Obviously we can just record over that and say something else into there. and then we can play it again. One, two. Do I need that switch on in order to do it?
1, 2.
Oh, I see.
1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2.
It's because I have this repeat on.
1, 2.
So it's trying to play all the time. So the pass-through is off. I can show you a little bit better. So the pass-through is off at the moment, and so if I try and record now, let's see. 1, 2.
1, 2.
I should probably say something else other than 1, 2, because it's just going to be the same each time. 3, 4. Let's try that.
3, 4.
Yeah, there we go. You probably didn't hear that.
3, 4.
So it works kind of, let's just zoom out a little bit. So it works, I guess. It's just an interesting little thing. I mean, it doesn't do an awful lot for its size, but I like the fact that you can record messages to it. You can certainly amplify this a lot louder. If you bear in mind it only has, 6,000 kilohertz sampling rate, so the audio quality is going to be pretty bad. However, it's a lot of fun, so I'm sure you could have, since the pins are here, you can trigger this using the pins here, so you could perhaps connect it to a motion activated thing, or whenever you open a door, it will, I'm pressing the record rather than play there. And that's repeating me. So perhaps it will record when anyone picks up the telephone receiver, or whenever you open the door and it gets answered, whatever. It's some fun stuff, I'm sure. Halloween gadgets, I'm sure you could do some really cool stuff with these. Anyway, I really enjoyed that actually, even though it did terrify me for a second there. But, so forgive me for bumbling my way through what was probably a pretty terrible video, but I don't care. You know, I don't do silly videos all that often, so I've had fun. All right, actually we've got, I say that, there are 2 more silly things that I've got to play with. So I've got this, it's a clap switch, so sort of clap on off switch that I'm going to be playing with. So I'm looking forward to that one. But I also got one of these FM transmitters. Now I picked this up at the same time I picked these up months and months ago, but I haven't had a chance to use it properly. So this one has a microphone and it's got a jack in there, so you could plug an MP3 player in or something, I think. I don't really know how these work, so I'm going to do a bit of research before I do a video so that I can tell you what kind of thing it is, because you know, there's a lot of things that fly around with transmitters and stuff like super heterodyne and all that kind of terminology that I at the moment don't understand, but I will read up on it and see if I can figure it out. If not, it's just going to be a bit of fun. Anyway, thanks a lot guys. I'll speak to you all soon.